Okay, so we're gonna move forward in the series on self-destructive patterns. In the first episode, we talked about toxic shame, and this time we're gonna be talking about impaired self-regulation. So impaired just means decreased or weakened or suppressed, and self-regulation is very important. Okay, so you should not be codependent on other people to bring you back to homeostasis, to help you be more aware, to be, more in tune with yourself. It is a blessing and it's a beautiful thing to have someone that can help you, that can guide you, that can assist you. But essentially, you need to be in a healthy, energetic place to where you can self-regulate, okay? And when you have an impaired sense of self-regulation, that will affect you in a negative manner. So if you're a person who suffers from this problem, you probably have noticed things like it's harder for you to move on from, I don't know, it's a problem or a situation that happened, and maybe it happened last week, but you're still stuck on it. It can look different for different people. What I do want to point out is that self-regulation and self-control are two different things. They are very similar, some of the same traits, but they are different, okay? Self-regulation is bringing yourself back to being centered, right? Whereas self-control is more so trying to, can look like maybe trying to control your emotions, or I don't know, maybe trying to control a bad habit that you have, okay? But they are similar in ways that it is manifested or expressed in your life. For example, you might struggle with overspending or trying to get your point across, or you probably struggle a lot with procrastination. Your timing is just a little bit off because you're spending more time trying to de-escalate a situation or calm yourself down. It's taking you a long time to get back to a centered point, and it's not a bad thing that it's taking you a long time to process. In fact, I encourage you to take as long as you need to process information. But when you are in a impaired, dysregulated space, you can feel overwhelmed, and it's hard to actually process information in the first place. So you just become stuck. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of just feel stuck, like you don't even know how to move forward. If you recognize that you're stuck and you're not able to actually process information, that's okay, because you're at a point of recognition. It's always a good thing when you recognize the issue. I know sometimes we can get in a place where it's like, I'm very self-aware, this is a problem, it's always this and it's always that, but it's a beautiful thing that this is coming out because it's allowing you the opportunity to grow from that space, whatever space that you're in, you know what I'm saying? So how do we heal this? How do we get past this? How do we start to regulate and come back into homeostasis with ourselves, for ourselves? We need to bring it back down to the basic level. So boundaries. We need to remember to set boundaries, not just externally, but with ourselves. We need to get into the habit of setting boundaries with ourselves internally as well. I think we get into the habit of setting boundaries externally with other people, at work, with family, but we forget to set boundaries with ourselves. So start setting boundaries for yourself. Also, get into the habit of setting standards for yourself, setting growth standards, because that's how you measure your own self and your elevation. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing for people to point it out to you, but how do you recognize that within yourself when you're trying to get back to regulating your own self? So starting to pay attention to the different physical traits that you're portraying when you feel dysregulated. So for example, you might start to feel a lot of stress and tension in your neck, you might get a lot of sweat under your pits, you might have a lot of sweat on your face, you might start to tap your legs a lot or start to fidget with your fingers. These are things that you need to start paying attention to, especially if you're having a lot of tension in your neck, you're getting a lot of headaches or migraines, and it's not normal for you. Anything that is out of the normal for you, anything that is abnormal for you in your life, then you need to start paying attention to those things, because that is a sign. That is your body speaking to you. Our body speaks to us in various ways, whether we're dealing with stress, depression, anxiety. Our body is going to speak to us physically. It's going to physically speak to us, okay? And if you get to a point where it's wearing down on you, it's taking a toll on you, then it is going to speak to you even louder. You know what I'm saying? You might start having heart palpitations, or your blood pressure might start to raise. You have to start paying attention to these things, and also start paying attention to the foods that you're craving, because that is also a telltale sign that your body is dysregulated, and we need to work on bringing ourselves back to center. And the key is to make sure you are not normalizing these things in your life, because you can get to a point where you work a certain way. Let's say you feel like you work better under pressure. I always try to convince myself of this, and I do, but I am also creating stress in my life when I do that. I am also creating anxiety in my life when I do that. You don't want to normalize these things, because what's is going to happen for you is it's going to manifest into burnout. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you work really, really hard under pressure, and you have a lot of projects, and you work until you burn out, and that's how you know that you have succeeded. That is not a healthy place to be in. You are teaching and training your body to be dysregulated at that point. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself into that position. So start implementing boundaries in your life, inner boundaries. Start implementing more breaks into your life. Start checking in with yourself. If you're a person that needs to put it in your calendar or start setting timers on your phone, then you have to do that. Those are all healthy pressures to implement into your life, so that you are making sure that you are either eliminating or preventing self-destructive behavior. So if you are a person who struggles with impaired self-regulation, or if you're a person who feels that you are maybe codependent on other people, go ahead and implement these things into your life. Take some time with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Implement more inner boundaries in your life, more healthy check-ins, and just take your time with it all. This is not something that you have to focus on, the negatives and the things that you're doing wrong. It's more so just focusing on how you can get back to a more centered, holistic place and inner balance within yourself. So continue along in this series of self-destructive patterns. We are going to go into various topics. If you have any topics that you want me to talk about, definitely comment below, and I will try to look into making another video on that. And if you haven't already, check out the first video. The first video is talking about toxic shame. That is a good video, I think, for people to start with if you are suffering from, depression or any kind of shame, or if you're suffering from guilt and it hasn't turned into shame yet. Definitely check that video out so that you can prevent it from getting to a point of shame or toxic shame. And thank you so much. Remember to like and subscribe. Follow my social medias. I'm at Neuro Spiritual on all social media platforms. And so if you see any other pages with my videos, they are fake pages. Remember, you can always book a coaching session.